Hello, good morning, students. I am Bhavesh Atodaria, English teacher from Sivasist Vidyalay, Kamraj. I am here to discuss the question that we discussed last in the chapter Portrait of Lady written by Kuswan Singh. So here, first we will go with the brief of the chapter. I have a small video that you will like it. I will give sound from back and you will see the video and have a brief recollection of the chapter, and then we will discuss the question answer. Let us discuss the summary, the portrait of a lady. The author remembered his grandmother as an old lady like anyone's grandmother. He believes her to be eternally old and finds it extremely hard to accept that she was once young or that she played games as a child. As far back as these memories went, she was fat, short, and had wrinkles all over the face. She walked around the house with a slight stoop, praying soundlessly with her rosary in her hand. She always wore white and was as peaceful and calm a sight as snow covered mountains in winter. The author declares that though his grandmother was never pretty, she was definitely beautiful. As child, the author lived with his grandma in their village while his parents lived in the city. His grandmother used to dress him up, give him breakfast, and also drop him to the village school every day. While he learned the alphabets in class, she read scriptures in the temple attached to his school. After school, they walked back home together, feeding the village dogs. Things, however, began to change when the author's parents brought them to live in the city. In the city, there were no stray dogs to feed, so Grandma took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of the house. Though he shared a same room with his grandma, the author went to school by bus and studied modern subjects. Thus, the author's grandmother could neither accompany him to school nor help him with his studies. This, coupled with the fact that the school had no religious instruction, made her unhappy. She was also aghast to hear that they taught music at school. In her opinion, music was only for beggars or dancing girls. Later, when the author was started going to the university, he was given a separate room in the house. This comprehensively snapped whatever remained of their friendship. The grandmother became more reclusive and spent her entire day sitting by her spinning wheel and reciting prayers. The high point of the day now was half hour she spent feeding sparrows in the afternoon. The little birds surrounded her, chirping loudly, eating little bits of bread. After his university education, the author went abroad for his higher studies. Contrary to the author's expectation, she remained unemotional and just kissed him on his forehead when she showed him off. Given her age, the author was unsure if he would see her again, but she received him at the station 5 years later. There was no change in her, neither in her looks nor in her behavior. However, on his first evening back home, the author's grandmother broke her routine and celebrated his homecoming. She sang of hours on end with other ladies from the neighborhood. The next morning, she fell ill. While the doctor assured the family that she would be better soon, old lady declared that those were her last hours. She refused to talk to anyone and demanded that she be left alone to pray. As she lay in bed praying inaudible as always, she passed away. Author's family placed her body on floor, covered it with a cloth, and left to make funeral arrangements. When they returned, a surprising sight met their eyes. Thousands of silent sparrows surrounded the dead body. They took no notice of the breadcrumbs that author's mother scattered on the floor, and they flew away just as quietly as they sat on the body was taken away of the last rites. Yes, student. So the first question from the worksheet was, how does Kushwant Singh describe his old grandmother? You have seen in the chapter that she was so old that she could not get any much more older. Her face was full with wrinkles crisscross going here and there, and she was short, fat, somewhat bent due to age. And it was unbelievable for Kushwant Singh that she would grow much more older, but her being pretty and young, he could never believe about it. Okay, now let's move towards the second question. Second question was, why did narrator's grandmother give the impression of winter's landscape in the mountain? Yes, this question has been asked many a time. Now, as we have seen in this chapter, she used to wear spotless white clothes throughout her life, and her hair, silver hair, locks here and there scattered, and totally white all over. She looked like a winter landscape in the mountain covered with snow. Now, all the day she recited her prayers all the time. She was very quiet, cool expression on her face and was like the peaceful, just like the snow covered mountain. That's why she was called winter landscape in the mountain. Now, third question. The third question was, how did the old lady look after the narrator in the village? In the third question, we can say that grandmother took care of narrator in the village when his parents went to live in the city and settle down. Grandma looked after him with care and love. We have seen that. She bathed him, dressed him, fed him, got his school bag ready, and took him to the school beside the temple, as you know. Even she helped him with his lessons because lessons was having scriptures, God, and stories related to God. So this was the third one. My fourth question was, why did grandmother feed dogs and birds in the village than in the city? What did the habit tell about her nature? Now this is a good question to ponder upon. The question we can say about her that she was a caring person. She had love for birds and animals. In the village, we have seen that she fed chapatis to the street dogs. In the same way, in the city, there were no dogs around, but because there were no dogs, she started feeding little birds, sparrows there. And so these all showed her affection for all living creatures and her noble nature. Next, fifth question. How can you say that grandma was a deeply religious minded lady? Again, you have to think and write about this. We can say that she was very much deeply religious minded lady because all the day we could see her that counted the beads of rosary and recited prayers continuously. She read scriptures inside the temples. She she was disturbed to know that there was no teaching and learning about gods and goddesses in the city school. Even there also she started feeding sparrows when she could not find birds, dogs. And this shows all the good quality of a good human being. Thank you. Now, sixth question. Why did grandmother accompany narrator to the school? Now, it's a quite simple. Quite devoted lady to her grandson, and she was very affectionate toward him. Being a small boy, and for his safe journey, she went with him to the school because school was beside the temple also. She utilized the best time being there because she was reading scriptures there, and son was getting knowledge of the alphabets and God and God stories like that. My seventh question. What was the grandmother's attitude towards education and music lessons at school? Yes, we have seen that. Being old fashioned in her thinking and not much educated, we can't say she was orthodox, but she thought that there must be the learning of our old culture and we should know about everything. Even she did not believe in the things they taught in the school, science and mathematics and whatever was there. Even the music, she didn't like it at all. She was against the education given in the English, and as there was no religious teaching at all. And with a view about her that music was meant only for beggars and prostitutes and not for gentle folk in the society. Yes. Now, eighth question. What was the common link of friendship between narrator and his grandmother, and when was it broken? Yes, very important question. We have seen that common link between the grandmother and her growing up grandson was that they shared same room in the city for several years. But link was broken when he went for the further university study and he was given separate room. So from that time, grandma secluded her from everyone. She was totally left everything from everyone and totally mingled herself in the God and the reciting prayers and counting the beads of rosary. She accepted her loneliness, aloofness from everyone, and did not complain to anyone. My next question: how did the old grandmother keep herself busy in the city home? Yes, we know that she was a religious minded lady, and when the author got a room of his own in the city, the old lady accepted her aloofness without complaining anyone, and she worked on the spinning wheel continuously all the day long and recited her prayers. Even she called the sparrows in afternoon. The best half an hour of her day was the afternoon. Only in the afternoon she used to feed those sparrows, and the best half an hour has been said by Kushwant Singh. Our next question: give brief account of grandmother's friendship with the sparrows in the city. Very important. See how she has developed her friendship with the sparrows. When lost even the last link of friendship with the author, she made friendship with the sparrows. Yes, obviously we know that. And in the afternoon, she fed small bits of crumbs to all the birds that were gathered around her. Some even sat on her shoulders, on her head, and she loved it. She didn't shoot them away. After her death, we have seen that sparrows also grieved her death. They also showed their attachment towards grandma. Thousands of the sparrows made a circle around her dead body, but without noise. They didn't make a single noise and no movement at all. Even refused to eat the food crumbs that were given to them by mother. And finally, they flew away only after the dead body was taken out of the home for final rituals. Yes. Okay, my 11th question was: give a brief account of how the grandmother saw narrators off at the railway station and celebrated his homecoming. Yes, we have seen that when she went to railway station to see her dear grandson off, she said goodbye. No, she just kissed on his forehead, and narrator thought that today also she did not show a single sentiment, even no emotions, and he thought that uh, whether she would be there or not after 5 years when I will return. But this is the last physical contact between both of them. But he was surprised when he returned back after 5 years. She was there to receive him. And in the evening, the little bit change has been seen on her routine. In the evening, she celebrated the homecoming of her grandson by singing the songs of homecoming of warriors, and she called the neighboring women from neighbor, brought a dilapidated drum and started thumping on it, and song was sung about the homecoming of warriors, that warriors came after winning of the war. So on that day, this routine has been changed, and we know that what had happened next. Next day morning, she fell ill, and doctor said that it is a mild fever, it would go, but grandma thought differently. She said that no, this is my last day, and now I don't want to be with anyone. Leave her alone. And within a few moments, counting of rosary bead was going on, and her hand stopped. It became lifeless, and she died. Yes, students, she died. My next question, 12th question: describe in brief how the old lady died peacefully. Yes, we can say that her daily routine was totally different and peaceful with no stress at all. But the celebration of homecoming of her grandson was so much that she could not bear that much pain on herself. Because of overstraining at such an old age, grandma was taken ill. According to doctor, it was mild fever. It would go, but she felt that her end was very much near, and she described to everyone that she should be left alone. She wanted to spend the last moment with all God and goddesses that she had. She did not pray for them in the last moments of her life, and then slowly, we have seen that her lips, movement of her lips stopped, her hands movement stopped, and the rosary beads fell from her lifeless hand, and this was the peaceful death of grandma. Yes. My next 13th question: how and why did Sparrow mourn the death of old grandmother? Yes. Attachment of nature with human, we can see in this that the association of friendship of the old lady with the sparrows began in the city life. When she was left alone by her grandson in a separate room, and when he went to further study, that was the all time she used for feeding sparrows, being with them, and the best time of her life. The only company she got is sparrow. The birds became very friendly and attached to her, that with all kind of love they behave with her. Even they come to near her without fear. And when she died, they felt bereaved of. They felt aloof, alone when she died. When she died, they gathered around the dead body of grandmother, but numbers of sparrows were there. No chirping was heard. And finally, when her dead body was taken away, they also flew away without making noise. And finally, we have seen that they did not pay attention towards the food crumbs given by author's mother. So it was the best attachment with grandma and sparrows. It's not sparrow, the relation of nature with human being, we can say about that. Next question. 14th question was: describe how the bond of friendship between author and grandmother grew strong and then weak with the passage of time. Yes, this is the value based question, students. We can say you have to be very much careful about while writing this. This is in 11th standard. You need to focus more for this type of questions. Now we can say that they became best friend in the village routine life, and they had developed a kind of good attachment, though they did not show talking much, but attachment was very good. Grandma gave bath, food, and everything in the morning, and went with him to the school. That was the best growth of their friendship. And a turning point came when they moved to the city. In the city, what had happened? City school was not having teaching of God and goddesses. That she didn't like. Second, she did not know English language. In the city school, he was going in the school bus. So these kind of things were there. And she couldn't accompany him anywhere. She couldn't help him in his study. And when she came to know that science and English is being taught, but no learning of God and goddesses, she didn't like it at all. And finally, when she came to know that English music lesson was being given, she was totally disturbed. According to her, what is the music lesson for? It was not at all for good and gentle folk in the society. It was for only beggars, harlots, and etc. people, those who are not at all welcome in the society. Then we can say that moreover, she has withdrew herself from everyone, and now totally passing her time with her sparrows, spinning wheel, counting of rosary beads, and etc. only. Further, we can say that when author went to the university, he was given his own room, and the common link between both of them has been totally broken. And now the sharing room has not been seen. So now totally she has left alone everything, or she felt alone, or we can say she has accepted loneliness. She didn't complain on single point. She felt isolated, yes. Now spinning the wheel, feeding the sparrow was the best work for her. But her concern and affection for her grandson had never been lessened. It was always there. Her love for grandson was always there. She went to the railway station to see him off. She went to the railway station to receive him. Did not show emotion, did not show any single word, but that was there. The love was there inside her heart, but she did not show it, but it was there. Even we have seen that the celebration of his arrival with the songs of homecoming of warriors, that he has won some war. It's a kind of good achievement. Yes, she felt like so. Even she forgot to pray on that evening. See, this shows very much attachment, though we can't say directly, but it shows that her daily routine for so many years has been broken just because her grandson has come. It was the love for grandson that she broke her routine and started singing songs. Yes. Next question, my last question was, it really pained grandma that the school did not teach anything about God and scripture. Should moral education taught in school? Why do you think so? Tell me. Now, this question also requires a logical answer, so it may be your plus or minus point, but you must be very much connective with the answer. See, as I say, our present education system has failed to uplift the students their ethical and spiritual values. Yes, it is only for mug up the things and just go learn and just write it down in the exam. No, it should not be like that. We require religion and morality for people to keep the civilization and human being alive. No emotions for people, just a robotic life we live. No, it shouldn't be there. We are raising the standard of living, but not the standard of life. We have everything now available on the fingertips, but where is the relations? The performance of duty, consideration of fellow men, and the compassion has taken backseat. The crisis of character loses in large number, and it goes very much down, morality very much down, ethics very much down. So what requires? These kind of things are required much in the present education system. Our lofty civilization is becoming hollow because of the less civilization values and characters in one. Why it happens? Because value education is not there, or if it is there, not given that much importance in school. It is given as a separate or extra subject that nobody pay attention, or just for the sake of taking exam they are doing it. Even we can say morals are set of principles which teach us difference between right and wrong. Yes, we came to know what is right, what is wrong only when we learn it through good moral education. Otherwise, you can't say directly this is good, this is bad. Morality is religion in practice. Yes, social evils prevail in their roots and due to lack of moral spiritual education. Yes, why evil comes? Why this terrorism and everything is there? Just because it is not given. Only the bookish knowledge has been given. Ethical teaching and learning must be there. Moral trainment to be good, and he should propose goodness. If we do not impart moral education in the primary level, we will have a whole new generation of misguided value. Yes, in childhood time only the moral value should be given in well manner. It should not be taken as an extra or additional subject that will be taught or will not be taught, both will be okay. No, it must be given that much stress and importance that other subjects are there. If section of this misguided youth indulge in any kind of loot, robbery, murder, that is not at all welcome in the society, then what will happen to their family members? To inculcate discipline and values in the children today, the older generation has to guide them in right way. The older generation has to guide them properly and in the proper way. Before something goes beyond reaches, we should completely do it in well manner. So this was the discussion about our question that has been given last. We will go with next the poem. And students, thank you for watching video. One message for all of you is there that all the videos uploaded by teachers are not for particular class of the teacher who is teaching there. These videos are meant for all the classes from A to H. It is not for single class. It is for all. Thank you. Stay home. Stay safe. Thank you.